Hi, I'm Shannon Rogers, and I'd like to tell you a little story about something that happened to change a lot of lives, including my own. I'm hoping my story will make you take a step back and look at the decisions you make in life. I'm not sure if you remember, but when I gave speech 2, I introduced you to one of the most important people in my life, my cousin Jason. Now I'd like to tell you a little bit about his relationship with his best friend Terrell. Now when Jason was a kid, he was pretty hot-tempered. He was outside playing one day by himself with a new kid from next door who managed to step over into his yard, and well, this of course upset him. So after kicking Terrell's butt, they somehow managed to become best friends. They grew up together and eventually became more like brothers than just friends. You hardly ever saw one without the other. Even after they became adults, their friendship never changed. When Jason's little girl was born, he named her Kayla Ty, after Terrell. He asked Terrell to be Kayla's godfather. When Terrell's little boy was born, he also asked Jason to be his son's godfather. They raised their kids to become best friends. Still, like most people in their 20s, Jay and Terrell liked to go out and have a good time. They were the type of guys that everyone loved and everyone knew. Always the life of the party and always making you laugh. Not to mention they could outdrink anyone under the table. I remember a time when I was sitting in Jason's apartment and he got a call from Terrell. He and Terrell had been in a wreck. He'd been drinking and hit a pole in the Walmart parking lot. His wife was in the passenger seat. They showed up to the apartment after leaving the hospital. Terrell's wife's face was covered in cuts. The windshield had busted in her face. After it healed, there were no scars and no permanent damage. She may have been a little shook up, but for the most part, she was okay. This instance came and gone as if nothing ever happened. They partied still just the same. On March 10th of 2004, Terrell had tickets to a George Thorogood concert he had bought for his father. His father bailed out on him at the last minute, and Jason, knowing what it's like to have a crappy dad, insisted on going with him. He called me and explained the situation so that he could cancel our plans to go with Tyrell instead. They drank Bud Light and shot Jack Daniels all night, and after the concert, got in the truck and headed back to LJ. They set cruise control on 70 miles per hour as they drove down 288. They wanted to make sure they didn't get pulled over for speeding and risk getting hauled off for a DWI. Both Jay and Terrell were pretty tired, so they took turns driving. Around the 1462 exit off of 288, they made their last switch. Terrell got in the driver's seat. Immediately, Jason reclined his seat and Terrell looked over and he was snoring. That's the last memory that Terrell has of this night. The next thing Terrell remembers is being woke up by a police officer asking him to step out of the car. Terrell had fell asleep because the truck was set on cruise control, when they approached the two bridges of County Road 290, the road curved, but the vehicle kept going straight in between the two bridges. It flew 300 feet in the air, landed, and continued to roll. He slept through the whole thing. He looked over, shook Jason, and told him, "Wake up, man, we're going to jail." The officer pulled him out of the car and said, "No, man, you're going to jail, nobody's going to the morgue." The impact from the truck hitting the ground had caused the speaker box to fly up and hit Jason in the back of the head, breaking his neck. The officer arrested Terrell for intoxicated manslaughter. Terrell never did time because my whole family went to the district attorney on his behalf. Terrell's family to us too, and it could have been either of them. We understood that. Instead, he was given probation with a charge of deadly conduct and had to pay a certain amount of money into an account for Kayla as part of his probation. But Terrell still lives next door to Jason's mom, and every time he looks into her eyes and that little girl's eyes that calls him Uncle Terrell, he's reminded of the fact that he killed his best friend. Mothers Against Drunk Drivers states, on average, someone is killed by a drunk driver every 40 minutes. And an estimated 13,000 people died in a drunk driving related crash. The National Center for Statistics and Analysis shows a high percentage of drivers in fatal crashes who had a BAC level of .08 or higher is at the ages of 21 to 24. Most of us in this room have probably drank and drive at one point or another. I have many of times. Don't ever think it can't happen to you, because it can. The next time you've been drinking and partying with your friends, when you go to pick up your keys to drive, I hope you remember my story. Don't be the person that has to live the rest of their lives knowing that they killed someone and shattered so many lives.